Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of The Worthy Woman. My name is Johanna. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm at in my business, what's kind of going on in my life, to help you understand even what I go through on a daily basis when it comes to my nervous system and trying to get things into alignment, pivoting things that need to be pivoted, right? And knowing when it's time to maybe slow down so that you can get back on track. So this is going to be kind of a little bit off the riff, not as much of a structured episode as what I maybe normally do, but important nonetheless, and gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of where I'm at and the things that I go through, you know, to show you that I'm also human, right? So I have really been, probably over the last month, maybe, last few weeks for sure, just feeling like I really wanted to like slow down and feeling called to slow down. And it's interesting because in some ways I sometimes will, you know, question, am I pushing things away by slowing down, right? Like, am I making excuses? Am I, you know, maybe just like allowing myself to get off track, you know what I mean? But the reality is I'm very busy, sometimes too busy with all of the things that I do, because I want to do all these things, but it's been navigating, how do I balance it all? So for those of you who don't know, I have a coaching business, but I also have an in-person practice. I'm a manual osteopath as my designation, and I'm up here in Canada, in Ontario. And so I'm treating in my osteopathic practice 4 days a week, trying to build my business and my practice with that, currently branching out kind of on my own and starting the stepping stone to building my own clinic. And that in itself is a lot to deal with, let alone also trying to build a coaching business. And so very often I've been getting better at it, but I can feel very burnt out in my business. I've been better at managing it for sure over the last probably year or so, knowing kind of when I'm starting to tip into that category of like doing too much. And so I usually can kind of rein it back in and not get to a place of burnout, which has been great. That's been a big improvement for me. Normally I have to kind of give up things because I'm just like, I'm so tired. I just can't keep up with it. So I've had a little bit more consistency in my life with it, which is great. But also what I've been noticing is sometimes I'm slowing down to kind of like realign where I'm at, to make sure that I'm not trying to do too much. And again, some people will be like, oh, well, maybe maybe you need to move through that. And for sure. But at the same time, it's got to feel right doing it too. And me doing things burnt out is sometimes me just like doing shit to do shit. And it's not actually helping me move things forward. It's not actually helping me shift things. So I've been trying to balance these two pieces. And a lot of times when people are building online presences, and online coaching practices, it's kind of their thing. It's like, maybe they have a 9 to 5, but, you know, a lot of times they have additional time, and gosh, I can't imagine being also a mother trying to do this. So any of you who are moms who have built businesses at the same time, like, kudos to you. But there's this dance that has to happen, right? And I think a lot of times it's easy for us to like listen to what society says and says, just push, just do, and just put shit out there just to put shit out there. And it's like, sometimes that's just not helpful, you know? And I've been trying to navigate the world of, you know, how much content to put out, what type of content even feels right for me. Am I just putting out content to put out content because I think the algorithm wants me to do that, right? So there's been a lot of nuance, you know, how do I meet people? How do I get in front of the right audience? How do I approach people with this? All of these little things. And when I sit with it and I reflect with it, there's a part of me that goes, something's just still kind of off the way that we're navigating things. And obviously I'm in a growing pain situation where my clinic is doing one thing and it's not 100% where I want it. My coaching business is doing its other thing and it's not 100% where I want it. And so I'm constantly trying to have to actively put a lot of effort in both places, and that can become a lot. And maybe you resonate with this, where it's like, you're just like, I don't have the space or the time or the capacity. Maybe you do have the space and the time, but you just don't have the capacity. You just like can't handle, you know, one more thing on your to-do list. Basically, you're like, I need a freaking break, right? And that is that point of burnout. And that's that point of a sign, a knowing that you need to step away, right? And that's what I've been learning. Like I said, I've been managing my energy a lot better. At the same time, though, there's been moments of like a lack of creativity, even though I'm not maybe like fully burnt out. It's like the creativity piece kind of gets muffled. So again, I've been working with like all of these things, and when I get to this place where I feel limited in my capacity, I have to take a step back. I have to take a little bit of a pause. And what's interesting is, as I've taken a bit of a step back from posting mainly, that's like mainly been my thing. I've been consistent with the podcast once a week, but the Instagram content game is crazy, right? It's so fast paced every day, you know, like that's what the algorithm loves, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think sometimes it's like also based on our own energies, but you know, we have to feel lit up when we're sharing things. We have to feel lit up when we're going into our you know, working with our clients even. Like if I'm burnt out on my own end, you know, going into treatments with people, I don't have as much to give, right? I don't have as much to support people with, and that's super important. So it's important to just take that break and know when you need that break. And so I've been really, like I said, feeling called to kind of like pause, rest, restructure, relook at things. What's important to me? Do I still want these things, right? Like, you know, where am I kind of at, and how can I maybe get to eventually a point where I have a balance between all of these things? Obviously, in the building stages of both things, there might be a little bit of chaos, which is normal. But how do I keep something that I can maintain? How do I set something up that I can maintain long term? Not only just in my business, but my life. Like I want to be able to enjoy my life. I want to eventually be able to have kids, and I want to be able to, you know, take a holiday when I want to take it, and not be glued to constantly feeling like I have to push and show up all the time. Like I want to be able to have downtime, enjoy my social life, enjoy my family life, and also have a successful business. I think there is a way to have it all, and I think it's just a matter of really getting clear and intentional about how we're showing up, what we're doing when we're showing up, and are those things actually working for us, or is it just like busy work, you know? So are we doing what feels aligned, or are we just doing what we feel like we should be doing based on algorithms, the way other people run their businesses, expectations we put on ourselves to just be able to do all of it at once, right? So, you know, I've been definitely looking at that realignment piece, that like long-term vision. What is it that I want? And then how can I incrementally take steps, to get to that place? So my schedule isn't overfilled, and I am actually prioritizing things that I want to prioritize. And that's, I think, what's been interesting is that I have, as much as I've pulled back, I've really been reflecting a lot on, again, what I want, how I'm showing up, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what maybe needs to go, what I maybe don't need to focus on as much. Is there a different way or a different approach that I could do things that would actually make it easier or get better results from it, right? And so there's been a lot of this reflection period, which I think is important in business, because I think when we don't reflect and we don't take this, position on things, or we don't allow ourselves the time and the space to look at what's maybe working or not working, that's how we end up in businesses we hate, right? It's how we end up in lives that we hate, right? When we're not sitting there actually reflecting on our energy, what we want, how we're showing up, what we're receiving, what we're not receiving, right? Like, where are we on the alignment spectrum? And can we do things that get us different results, right? Because I truly believe that we can not only hold ourselves in the chaos of, crazy times, but it's also knowing what we need to show up for ourselves in the way that we need. And I think that we've gotten so caught up in this masculine, rigid, every day has to look the same structure when it comes to business and how we show up online, and like, you got to be there every day or else people they're going to forget about you, right? Like, we get so caught up of like, I have to be on. And I don't really feel like that's an alignment for me, but like, I don't know how you guys feel, where it's like, I don't think we're meant to operate that way as people, right? Like, I think we're meant to have highs and low, ebbs and flows of our energy, which means ebbs and flows as to how we show up. It doesn't have to be, as much as we need structure, I think there is this nuance to have space. And having structure doesn't mean that you're on all the time. Having structure means you have a plan. Having structure means you take action on a specific plan. And having structure means it allows you space and time to rest, to nurture, to soften, to relax. We have to have this nuance of both. But a lot of times we're in one or the other, where we have no structure and we're constantly in flow, but not maybe really seeing results. Or we're on the other end, we have so much structure that we can't keep up with it, but there's no time for rest, and so we burn ourselves out, right? And so there needs to be this dance, and that's what I've been consistently trying to navigate, but specifically over the last few weeks, really feeling called to look at. Now I'm finally kind of starting to come out of that a little bit, where I'm like, okay, it's time to like get back on track. We're out of that season. I don't know if it was the Mercury retrograde or what, but it's like allowing those flows to happen, right? So I'd love to know, where are you in your own life? Where are you in your work? Have you been reflecting on this? Where could you create more space instead of doing more things? Are you reflecting? Have you felt this pull to kind of go inward over the last few weeks? Where are you at? And I think it's important to trust that process and remember that sometimes that realignment, or what we need sometimes, is just space to slow down, to reflect. We don't always have to be going 800 miles an hour, right? We can have slower moments in our business and in our lives and still be moving forward. And sometimes that makes us go faster in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Again, a little bit different than what I normally do. I'll be back next week. For those of you who are new, who maybe haven't heard, I do have a nervous system quiz where you can figure out which type you typically show up as in your nervous system, and how you respond, and how you can start to shift that energy to feel more balanced, to feel more in alignment with where you are and where you're at. And if that's something that you're interested in, that will be in the show notes. But otherwise, that's kind of it. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, make sure you're doing that, since I do plan on being there a little bit more often now that we're kind of getting out of this funk a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you guys. So hopefully that resonates. Hopefully you take some time to reflect on your own life and your own business, and give yourself that space and time that you need, because you might be surprised at the clarity and the creativity and that alignment piece that starts to come through. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening or morning whenever you're watching this or listening to this, and I will see you guys in the next one.